Shopping for your first car in high school can be a pretty daunting task. It's especially rough if, on top of not knowing what it's like to buy a car, you don't know what kind of car you want, and every time you talk to your family and friends about it, you're like,
In terms of money, we have no money.
well, since buying a car is supposed to be a fun and exciting event, especially for car people, here's a little step-by-step process to help ease any of the stress and to give you guys the tips I've picked up over my many years. Let's get into it. By the way, I absolutely do not know every in and out of car buying, and I still have a lot to learn myself. Although I've put a lot of hours into car shopping, whether it's binge shopping or really trying to buy a car for me or someone else, a lot of other people might know stuff that I don't. If you have a trick or rule of thumb I didn't talk about, please put in the comments to help out other people from potentially ending up in a crappy situation. Also, let me know if you've got any funny or interesting car buying or selling stories, and feel free to ask any questions in the comments or by DMing me on Instagram. Without further ado, step 1 is to figure out your budget. I started working when I was 14 after seeing my siblings each buy whatever sub $1,000 car they could get from our extended family. Don't get me wrong here, there's nothing wrong with doing that, and it's definitely the best idea financially, but just for me, I wanted to challenge myself to work harder so I could afford something that would at least work better and last longer. Either way, whether you do plan to get something nicer or you want to just buy the cheapest thing you can get your hands on, you should always check with your relatives to see if they want to sell anything. It never hurts to see what other people have. They'll most likely give you a good price, and you'll be buying from someone you already know. Lastly, my tip for this, do not use all the money you have.
You took everything from me.
I don't even know who you are.
You will.
If you have a certain amount saved up for a car, keep in mind any potential costs for sales tax, registration, maintenance like oil changes or tires, and obviously gas. This stuff adds up, so if you're in high school and you don't have anything you have to pay for or budget for, I'd say if you're looking at cars under $5,000, keep at least $1,000 saved for maintenance, but preferably at least $2,000. If you're shopping for cars between $5,000 and $10,000, I'd say keep at least $2,000, but $3,000 would be much better. It might take you a little longer to have enough for the car you want, it's the less fun way to go about it, and it might slightly limit what you can buy, but trust me, you'll be happy you did it. Next up for step 2, you've got to figure out what type of car you want. This can be sorted down into a lot more ways than you probably think. Do you want a sedan, truck, SUV, hatchback, or coupe, or coupe? Do you want something European, Japanese, or American? Are you a solid hardtop person, which allows for more storage, one less part to have break or rip, and it looks better in my opinion? Or are you set on a convertible because you want to be able to put the top down? Are you going to roll the dice on something that's been in an accident so it's cheaper for the car itself? Or are you going to stick to the safe, clean title ones, which is absolutely what I recommend 100% of the time? And lastly that I can think of are you interested in buying from private sellers because you'll most likely pay less, or are you only comfortable buying from a dealership since private sales can get pretty sketchy? I've seen plenty of private sales go great with a smooth purchase and the car is in great shape with no issues. I don't mean that private sales are bad. They can definitely save you a lot of money and get you a great deal. Each person just has their own preference, but look around and think about what you're most comfortable with. Now with an idea of what you want, you're ready to effectively start searching online. It can be a little intimidating once you see all the cars that are for sale, but you can really enjoy this part and the next part. If you don't know what's out there, do some quick Google searches on the best cheap cars on the market, ask around, watch my other top cheap car videos, or like I said earlier, just ask me directly. For private sales, my favorite website to use is Facebook Marketplace. Years ago, before that was really a thing, I'd use Craigslist, but since then it's dropped off in popularity and it's just not that nice of a website, but I've seen both work great. My all-time favorite car shopping and binge shopping website though is CarGurus. I use it all the time and I recommend it a lot to people. It's mostly for dealership sales, but you can also find private sales on there too. I've found they have the easiest website to navigate, the most extensive and accurate filters, and for some reason I usually find the best prices on there for cars in good condition. You can also save whatever cars you like on their website, which brings us to the next step in this car buying master plan, going to look at the cars. You can do this however you want, by going to the closest ones first just to get a feel for the experience, or by going to look at the listings things you like the most. Either way, this is the real way to figure out what you like the feel of and what's actually a good deal or not. Test driving rules are different from dealership to dealership, but in my experience, most of them won't let you test something alone if you're under like 18 or even 20. If you can bring a parent or anyone over the age of like 25, then they should let the two of you take the car out alone. But if everyone's too busy to go with you, it even helps a lot just to go sit in the car, look at the engine bay and underneath, and talk to the salespeople. In my opinion, also, a good mindset to have when you go look at the car is expect to not put a deposit on it before you leave for like an hour or two.
You just want to suck the joy out of everything.
This even helps if you drive home for that amount of time just to think about the car without the excitement of having it right in front of you. You also won't have the salesman waiting right there, staring at you, breathing down your neck, probably drooling or sweating, thinking about the bonus he's gonna get. If during the test drive you notice any grinding or serious rough driving, say something. If it's serious enough that the car's not worth it anymore, then just go with your gut and tell them no thanks. But if you or someone else can tell it's a fairly simple fix, always bring it up with the seller as leverage for negotiating. You can also use the time when you're seeing different cars in person to better learn the prices of each car in different conditions. For example, if you see 5 nice Ford Focuses with 80,000 miles for $4,000 each, then you would know one in the same condition with only 60,000 miles for the same price is a pretty good deal. A few obvious things you should look for that I can think of are rust-free or lightly rusted underside, since you are looking at cheaper cars and there will be some rust, and tire tread and DOT dates. Check the clear coat too for fading or bubbling that'll only get worse if it's not repaired, and look for rusted out areas or any signs of rot. Once you know your stuff better and you've found the car you're confident in, you've hit the negotiating stage. This can be the part that a lot of people dread, but as long as you have some negotiating nerve or you bring a tough deal maker with you with some hardcore strategies, you should be good.
Make it 5, 4, 3. Take it or leave it.
Don't just accept the dealership or private seller's price unless you know they're really offering a great deal and you don't want to underpay. If you are a broke student though, you should probably just try to get the car for as cheap as possible. Sometimes to get you to agree to a sale if you seem iffy, a dealership might offer to touch up some of the paint, or they'll give you the touch-up paint so you can do it yourself. They also might offer to go through the car's maintenance fluids one more time or something like that. Whether they're going to do this or not, stick to the price you know is fair, because most of whatever they're going to offer is gimmicky and not expensive on its own, so it doesn't really change the price. Whether it's a private or dealership sale, you should also know the prices for repairs or bigger maintenance jobs. If the car needs tires, keep in mind that it'll be another $400 or $500 after the balancing and everything. Deduct those repair costs from what you'd pay for one of these in good shape, and then you've got the amount you should pay. After you look at the car and finish negotiating, you'll probably pay a small deposit so they can finalize paperwork and everything, and after that, you can give them cash or give them a check if it's a dealership, and then you'll find a day to go pick up the car and title. At this point, all you've got to do is enjoy and maintain the car. A couple things to stick by while being a young driver: don't be at fault for an accident because it'll jack up your insurance. To care for the car itself, keep it clean, wax it about once a year, and don't always park in the sun or under a sappy tree to preserve the paint. If you see something rusted through, especially if it's a cheap fix, then just replace it. And finally, a pro tip: if your car uses 87 gas and you pay more for 93, it's not going to give you 100 more horsepower, so it's just a waste of money.
What?
I'm sorry, I even know of a few people who would be sad to hear this, but someone had to say it. And finally, don't do stupid stuff stupidly. I love pulls as much as any car guy, and I'm not going to tell you to not do them, but only do them on empty roads where people don't go for walks. Don't weave in any traffic because it's actually not cool, and don't try to learn to drift on public roads or anywhere with a lot of other people. Learn this stuff on a track or in a wide open area, and not anywhere that you'll hurt other people or end up in a tree. Normally I say I can't tell anyone how to live, but it's different when it involves the safety of others, and the tree thing is just advice from seeing it happen or almost happen to some of my best friends, even though thankfully all of them were all right. Accidents and wrecking your car really does happen, and it really can happen to you if you do this type of stuff. That potential 10 seconds of fun for trying to drift or weaving, even though I don't see how that could even be that fun, assuming everything goes smoothly, isn't worth the thousands of dollars it costs to fix something like that when it goes wrong, which it most likely will, and that doesn't even include anything that could happen to other people. Like I said in the beginning of this video, make sure you share any tips or tricks you have in the comments, as well as any funny car buying or selling stories you've got. Car buying, especially for your first car or a dream car, should always be fun and an exciting experience, and if you take a little time to learn what you need for the car you want, anyone can get a great deal out of it. For anyone new to the channel, I upload American car news and content like this every week. If you have questions or requests, leave a comment below or send me a DM on Instagram. As always, I really appreciate all of you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all next week. Have a great day.